Today was the second day of working on the first draft of my next short story. For those that have been, following along with the process, my goals, obviously, for the spring, I had 5. I've now knocked out the first 2 of them, which is obviously excellent. We got 2 months left here to get the other 3 things done. So, in theory, you'd figure this would be a relatively easy adventure. Unfortunately, I tend to order my goals, especially when I list them out like this, in terms of easiest to hardest. So usually the first ones I list out are the ones I tackle, are usually the easiest ones, and as it goes on, basically the challenges become a bit more difficult. The short story, it's about halfway done. When I picked it up, or when I left it off back in February, I was about halfway through writing it, so in theory I only have maybe a few thousand words to write. It's not necessarily a lot, but it's becoming a bit more of a challenge now. The reason for it is more to do actually with the creative side of things, not so much with the prose, but more with the creativity and coming up with an interesting idea. What I'm facing right now is a challenge in trying to find some core memorable aspect of the community I'm writing about. So the short story is basically an examination of really a very close, very small town community, and I'm trying to find the unifying thing, like the interesting thing this community offers that others, maybe outsiders might not know. Something that is interesting, something that showcases the zeitgeist both of the time, as well as shows kind of like the endearing aspect of this town. The thing that's going to carry a lot of resonance with the audience is really what I'm trying to figure out. And so a lot of this section here, I've kind of pared it down to this part for the video where I was actually doing some typing, but a lot of it is thinking. A lot of it is just sitting there and trying to figure out, okay, where is the memorability? Where are the aspects of this town that people will remember and tend to find kind of heartwarming, things that people will really connect with? And it's been difficult. With a lot of these stories, especially ones that tend to examine small towns, employment is usually the area where people will head towards. They'll find some aspect of employment, something to kind of showcase, perhaps like a blue-collar life, some sort of job, and they will examine that and they'll show that. That's one angle I've considered, is finding perhaps like a unique job to the town. Other people maybe will find a tradition that's held in the town. And so for me, it's the challenge right now in trying to find that angle, to find the thing that that people will take away from the story, that will go, wow, that's an interesting aspect of this community here. That's a very intriguing thing. You don't see that everywhere. And it's been difficult. It's been difficult to come up with something that reflects that. It's obviously fiction, what I'm writing here, and yet you're looking for something that's true to real life. Something that, especially these kind of stories here, where you're trying to examine a certain aspect of the world. It's difficult to find the thing that people will connect with at times, because it seems like everything is very, very boring and very uninteresting, until you take kind of a step back and look at it and go, well, okay, I suppose people will find that pretty entertaining or pretty intriguing. And so that's what a lot of this session was tonight. Just sitting at this keyboard, just thinking it out. I've got a couple ideas, but I surmise that over the next day or two, that's what I'm going to be focusing on, is really trying to come up with just the heart of this story, trying to figure out where this is. And it's not something that can be rushed. The choice in what you decide to show and what's going to carry a lot of impact with your readers cannot be rushed. So for me, that's what a lot of the session was, and that's really what going into the next few days it's going to be. Just a lot of time at the keyboard, a lot of time thinking. My word count, my output will probably be pretty slim, I surmise, until I figure this out, because that's really where the heart of the story needs to come in here in the second half. But we'll see. We're going to see. Certainly I have plenty of time. I've done an estimation that if it took me all month, like the month of April, to get this first story written. I could probably get the other 2 drafts of my short stories done in a month. I could probably get the last 2 things here knocked out. So I have plenty of time. I don't necessarily need to rush it, but I'd like to obviously get it done sooner rather than later. In any regard, it's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be difficult. But once I find the heart of the story, I think this thing will move very, very quickly. So for now, it's just embracing kind of the slow part of it and just waiting. Just waiting for the idea to come. And as much as people talk about, you know, not waiting for the muse to hit you, not waiting for, inspiration to strike, you do need it. Writer's block, especially creatively, is definitely a real thing at times. And you have to take your time and really think through what's going to come next. It doesn't mean not doing it. Doesn't mean just sitting around for like 3 months not writing and just thinking here. But there needs to be an aspect of deliberate pondering, whatever that might be, whether it's sitting at the keyboard, maybe it's going for a walk, whatever it is, but you have to kind of play with the idea. And surprisingly, when you shut yourself off from social media, when you step back from any kind of distractions and just kind of sit in a room and just think, the ideas can come to you rather quickly. At least I found that. We'll see. We're gonna find out. But for me, that's often how it comes, is just secluding myself, getting away from these distractions, and the idea usually will come to me at some point. Not right away, but at some point the idea comes to you, and then you're ready to rock.